Russia, who has been supporting to the hilt the Assad regime in Russia, whose tempo of airstrikes, I think the statistic, I think that Scahill said about a year ago, the rate of civilian casualties that Russia was inflicting on Syria was for the first time in like in the modern era actually exceeded for a period of time U.S. civilian casualties from all of our kinetic activity across the globe. And now General Mattis, who is, of course, people should be looking at his conduct in Iraq, especially in Fallujah, is now getting himself back into the center of things with the Trump administration. And this is a really, look, the amount of energy that people both sort of, all Russia all the time versus people who are, so concerned about how Russia's misunderstood in World War III and all this stuff. I would say take down 40% or 50% or 90% of your interest in that and get serious about what's happening with Iran, because it's incredibly dangerous, and that actually could be a war. And this clip of General Mattis speaks to that.
What we have to look at is the destabilizing influence that Iran has consistently portrayed and demonstrated throughout the region. And the only reason that the murderer Assad is still in power, the primary reason, is because Iran has stuck by him, reinforced him, funded him.
So that's partially true. It completely downplays Russia, which has provided the aerial supports and a lot of diplomatic cover for Assad. And also, let's look at reality here. Iran has definitely also propped Assad because of its own regional geostrategic interests, even for the same reason that the Saudis and the Gulf have flooded Salafist far-right groups fighting in Syria, who have committed massacres with support. And the United States is obviously engaged in its own aerial bombardments in support of Gulf-funded groups as well. But the other reality is that groups like Hezbollah and Iranian militias, who have certainly, like every single other actor there, have committed many crimes, on the ground, they've actually been people that have, in some cases, protected Christians, protected Alawites, and other minority communities. And the reality is, if you're talking about destabilization and regional wars in the Middle East, you better have a globally integrated strategy that deals with Saudi Arabia, Israel, the Gulf, and Iran, because they're all playing these games, not to mention to which the Saudi air war in Yemen, which continues to this day and is potentially the worst humanitarian situation on the planet. But the target is on Iran. So everybody needs to get out of their Russia obsession one way or another and get obsessed with an area that they've already detonated the greatest modern diplomatic accomplishment, the Iran deal, which Obama administration and its partners in the Rouhani government negotiated and implemented successfully. And now we see a rhetoric, and especially coming from Mattis. He's not part of the crazy nut job, Bolton warlust ring. He's part of this military industrial apparatus, which in the context of Trump was supposed to be the people that occasionally injected, obviously not ethics or morality into it, but some rationality. And if they're going in on this, that's incredibly dangerous. So that's what we need to be focusing on.